the main thing is, how do you respond to adversity? Because I think that adversity is something that comes in all of our lives. So even when you're on the court, something's not going to go your way. What's going to happen when you don't get the ball, when you think you should have gotten the ball? How are you going to respond? And that's what college coaches are really looking for. They're not looking for what can you do when everything is going right, everything is going in your favor. They're looking for what could you do when things aren't going right? Do you still have an effect on the game when you're not scoring? When you're not dropping 20, 30 points, what else are you doing?
Hello, everyone. This is author Tim Brown, the book Uncommon Athletes, Filled with Passion, Fuel Your Purpose. And I'm blessed today to have with me truly an uncommon athlete, and Devrinn Paul. Most of us, all of us, call him DP. Yeah, so we'll be DP today.
Man, what's up? What's up? Happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Excited to have. I like that trust to grind back there. You know, that just jumps right out at me. Where'd that come from? What does that mean to you when people see that? What are you trying to get them to understand?
Yeah, so when me and my wife started our first basketball training business in New York, we were trying to come up with a slogan to kind of stand by for our business, and we wanted to pretty much push people towards the mindset of trusting the process. You know, trusting that everything that you're doing is going to actually it's going to come to the light one day, as long as you're willing to commit to the process and not really be driven by the results, but to be driven by the process. So that's really what trust the grind means, is to be driven by the process. We just thought the process was a little old school. So we switched up the process and we put the grind in there.
Put the grind in there. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. And speaking of that, you grew up in New York, and now you've been went from New York to Kentucky. Now you're in Charlotte, and was in Marshall for a while. So you had quite a few experiences in basketball. But where did your passion come for the game? Where did your passion for sports come from?
Well, the shout out to my parents. They put me in organized sports at a young age. So when I was younger, I played basketball and football. My uncle, Coach Tom Patterson, happened to be a college basketball coach. He was always around coaching. This was back in the day where you would go to these team camps. So Louisville would have a camp, Kentucky would have a camp. All of these big schools would have these camps, and most of the best players in the area went to the camp to compete. So I started at a young age going to these camps and really just understanding that, I didn't start out as the best player on the court, although I grew into somebody that people wanted to be on their team. So once I realized that, you don't have to start out good at something. You can actually get better at that one thing. And I think that's what really built my passion for sports. It was just an outlet at first, and then it became something that, I really got addicted to. I got addicted to going and getting in the gym and making sure that I was working on my game, because I knew that it would show. Because in the 7th grade, I got cut. I went out for the middle school team, and I thought I was nice. When you're hooping outside and you're on the playground, it's a different type of basketball. But once I got underneath that whistle, I wasn't that nice and I wasn't that good. So I went home that day, and my mother, she's a true New Yorker. So, she's very tough. She was like, all right, you got cut. So what you going to do? And I was like, I really want to play, though. She was like, then call your uncle. He does something with basketball. He's always doing something with basketball. She didn't really know what he was doing. Right. So I called my uncle, and he started training me. And through that process, I really learned the fundamentals. I really learned, it doesn't take you 50 dribbles to score. If you could do the fundamentals, you can get some playing time. And that's what I focused on. And that's how I actually got into playing the sport. And that's how I built my passion.
Well, great. I know you mentioned, I know you were a two-sport athlete in high school, and then you ended up attending Kentucky State. How'd you end up at Kentucky State?
Man, that's a crazy story. So my uncle was the head coach at the time. I played basketball and football in high school. I was a much more talented football player, but somehow the basketball always found me. I couldn't stay out the gym. I couldn't stop playing. So, I just kept playing and playing, and I got to my senior year and I did not take academics very serious. I didn't like school, didn't want to go to school. Only reason I went to school was so I could play sports.
Right.
And at that point, my dad sat me down. I was about to graduate from high school, and he asked me a question. He said, "All right, we happy that you graduated and you got a little graduation party and stuff, but what are you about to do? You
Mm.
got two options." He said, "You could always live here, but you're gonna have to either work full time or you're going to have to go to school." And I looked and I was like, "Ooh, all of the schools stopped recruiting me when they looked at my grades."
Right.
So I was like, "Man, I don't have no offers. I don't have no schools calling me. What am I going to do?" So I looked at my resources and I looked at who I had in my corner. And one of those people was Tom Patterson. And I called my uncle and he got me into Kentucky State. And that was the end of it. I took it as a second opportunity. When I first got there, I knew I didn't take academics very serious in high school. So I took it as a challenge. And, that's what I tell a lot of young student athletes. I don't have problems. I got challenges. I got opportunities to grow. And I mean, I know you're very fond of the Bible and scripture. And I think there's some scripture that talks about, it counts your trials and your tribulations as opportunities. Like these are challenges. So I took it as a challenge and I stepped up in the classroom. I stepped away from football. I got real with myself and I was like, you know what? I know I ain't going to the league or nothing. I really want to take academics serious. And then my uncle asked me to come be a student manager on the basketball team. And that led into me getting into coaching. But I really focused on academics and I got that 3.4 GPA my first semester. And I just finished up my second master's degree. So I went from not liking school to becoming a certified educator.
Wow, that is powerful. That's a powerful testimony. And I think a lot of in scripture talks about how all trials, tribulations you go through, that perseverance, what it does, it builds your character. It builds your character. Because if you can get through this, you can get through the next thing. And you become a young man of character, a man of character, who's not going to give up, who's not going to quit when those things don't work out or come your way. Could you speak to athletes about the importance of developing positive relationships? Because it sounds like every step along the way in your career has been about relationships. And how important are those relationships?
Man, Pastor Brown, you really making me dig in today. But first off, I want to let those young student athletes understand that you got to have core values in your life. Like you need core values. These are things that you stand for. These are things that you're not going to let the world put on you. You put them in your personal life. So one of my core values is building positive relationships, not just with people that I think could help me, but with people that I feel like, need help. And I think the Bible speaks about that as well. If you see somebody there and you talk about, yeah, I'm gonna pray for you, but if you got money in your pocket or you got a meal that you could give them and you don't give them anything, that's faith without works. So I really wanted to use those scriptures in my life, and now that I'm getting a little bit older, I can see how those things actually come up. But I built a relationship with Michelle Clark Hurd, who's now the head coach at University of Cincinnati on the women's side. And she was at Kentucky State while I was there as a student manager. But we all know at K-State, everybody in basketball is family because you go on road trips with the girls, you in the hotel with the girls. So you kind of, you grow up with everybody like a family. And I would see the girls about to come on the court for practice. And, I don't know who's watching this, but if you ain't ever been to an HBCU, it's not that organized. So it's a little bit different in those gyms trying to get on the practice court. You got random dudes in there just hooping, like just playing pickup games. So, I would tell them, hey, get off the court, man, let the girls practice. So I started kind of helping with their practices, just really doing all of the stuff that nobody else wanted to do. And through that, I built a relationship with her. And that's how I got to University of Louisville. So after I was a student manager at Kentucky State University, I went to University of Louisville to get my first master's degree. And I worked for the head coach by the name of Jeff Walls, but I didn't have a relationship with him. I had a relationship with Michelle Clark Hurd that got me in the door, and I developed a relationship with Jeff. So, I think that relationships are, they're more effective than you having money in your pocket because, money could come and go, but those relationships could last forever.
Yeah, I talk a lot about, speaking of that, it's not who you know. A whole lot of people know you, but it's what do they know about you. We're trying to build all these, trying to get and good with everybody. But a whole lot of people know you, but the bottom line is, what do they know about you? Obviously, Coach Hurd knew a lot about you. She knew you, but she knew a lot about you. She knew a lot about your character and type of young man you were. You would be an asset to the program. So the question now becomes what are some of the character traits that coaches are looking for in players today? What are some of those? Because, you got talent. We always talk about talent will take you so far, but character is what keeps you there. What are some of those character traits that coaches are looking for today in student athletes?
I actually, I had seen a video that you posted not too long ago that was talking about how you must have character. And I think you were speaking about a scripture out of the Bible. But I see these things over and over with the uncommon athletes, right? And the things that they do, they kind of make them stand out. And I think that, some stuff that coaches are looking for are the things that don't show up on the stat sheet. And me and my wife, we had some downtime this weekend, and we went to Nike Nationals AAU tournament out in Augusta, Georgia. And, I have lots of college coaching friends. And, we had talked before, not during the tournament, because that would be illegal, but before the tournament, a lot of my coaching friends were telling me, hey, we looking for players that do the things that everybody doesn't see. Like, how do they respond when they get taken out the game? Is this person throwing their hands up in the air? Are they complaining about the fouls that are not called by these referees? Are they being coachable on the bench? Meaning, are they listening to the coach and making the proper adjustments when they get in the game? The main thing is, how do you respond to adversity? Because I think that adversity is something that comes in all of our lives. So even when you're on the court, something's not going to go your way. What's going to happen when you don't get the ball, when you think you should have gotten the ball? How are you going to respond? And that's what college coaches are really looking for. They're not looking for what can you do when everything is going right, everything is going in your favor. They're looking for what could you do when things aren't going right? Do you still have an effect on the game when you're not scoring, when you're not dropping 20, 30 points? What else are you doing? Actually, one of our kids just got a few Division I offers, and she thought, and her mother thought, that she didn't play well on one day at the tournament. And so, I wasn't at that game, and I reached out and was like, how do you think that she played, to a couple people that had watched? And everybody else was like, oh, she did excellent. She did very well. But sometimes when we're being very critical, we're looking at, did you score? Did you get any rebounds? Like, we're looking at the stuff that you can really see. But I'm telling you, the coaches are looking at the inner game. And that's stuff that people don't see on the outside. And the coach said that she did very well. So, I definitely think that having those character traits and making sure that you're very coachable, making sure that you're responding to adversity in a positive way.
Yeah, I think that key word is positive, in a positive way, with the right attitude, being able to make those adjustments. I think a lot of times, in this generation, young people, it's so hard on themselves, because they're stuck on them stats. That's all they're looking at. It's 20 points. Well, I got 20, but somebody else got 40. But that person that got 40, I'm telling you, they took a whole lot of shots to get 40.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
A whole lot of shots to get that. So you've been blessed to coach some uncommon elite athletes. You were part of that University of Louisville teams, women's team that went to back-to-back Final Fours. Could you share from that experience? What is it? What does it makes a player uncommon? What separates them out? Some of these elite players.
Man, first of all, I do want to say, it is a blessing to be around that type of environment. There's some people that coach their entire career and never go to a Final Four. So to be able to go to two of those in my coaching career, and I'm hoping to go back and win me one. What I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to win one with my wife right there and my little baby girl. But I've seen some great players. I've seen some players that really excelled. I've seen some uncommon athletes. One young lady sticks out in my mind, and that's Angel McCoughtry. Now, Angel McCoughtry was on that 2009 WNBA. She was the #1 overall pick in that WNBA draft that year. And the thing that really stood out to me was she wasn't an All-American. Like, she wasn't even highly recruited coming out of high school. We talk about somebody that went from average into a great player, right? But that's what a lot of people talk about, is how she went from average to a great player. but I watched her.
Mm.
I got her rebounds. I seen her in the gym when nobody else was in there. I seen her working on her game when she got criticized for what she didn't do. I didn't see her complaining. I saw her making adjustments. I didn't see her making excuses. I saw her getting in the gym and putting the work in. And not just in the gym, I saw her sitting down, watching film, understanding the game, really getting that athlete's mindset. And, this is something that we teach all of the student athletes that we work with. You got to have an athlete's mindset. And that's when you're able to look at things in your game, in your personal life, and say, I got opportunities to grow. I got room to get better. And that's what she did. She was able to identify her strengths. So if you're a student athlete watching this, make sure you know what you do well. Sometimes I ask kids like, hey, what's your favorite shot in the game? Like, if you got to go get a bucket, what you going to do? And they can't even answer me. Well, if you can't answer that, I don't trust you in the game with the ball if that's how you feel, right? So you got to really think about the game. When you come off that ball screen, are you reading the defense or are you just taking shots? And that's one thing that I saw was she was a student of the game. And she developed that athlete's mindset, and she understood her strengths as well as her weaknesses, and she was able to accept that. So I think that self-awareness piece is something that a lot of people don't talk about, even in coaching. Like, are you self-aware, man? I see so many, and I saw some coaches this weekend. And Pastor, I was like, man, like, and I gotta coach myself too. I'm like, sometimes we just tell kids what to do, but are we showing them? Are we guiding them? And that's why I work out every single day, because I'm not going to tell a kid to go work on their game and I'm not working on myself. I got to start with me. That's where it really comes down to, are you self-assessing? And I think that's a trait of all uncommon athletes. Every single one of them, they looking in the mirror and they saying, hey, where's my opportunities to grow? How can I go get better? No matter where you are in your career, how could you get better? And ask yourself that every day, put together a plan and attack.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you just wrote the book. Because chapter 1 in that word passion, we talk about uncommon preparation. And that's really when we're talking about the athlete's mindset, that uncommon preparation, not just coaches roll the balls out there and you just going through drills, but there's a purpose for it. There's a plan for it. And once you get that plan down, it'll help you become that athlete that you want to be, that uncommon, whatever level that is. Everybody has an own level, but you want to be the best that you can be, and that's where self-assessment come in. Wow, that's powerful there. Hey, today I know you not only work with athletes, but you also work with coaches as well. I know you and your bride also involved with coaches. And so what are some of those things about coaches, that you can talk to, or what are some things you're trying to give the coaches to help them be successful? Because you've been in that spot, you've been in the Final Four, you know what it takes, you've been around great coaches. So what are some of those things that you're dealing with coaches? What are coaches dealing with today?
Yeah, coaching is a lot different than it was when I was coming up. And I'm pretty sure you've seen it evolve over the years as well. When I was young and I first started playing sports, it was just like, if a coach told you to do something, you just did it. You know what I'm saying? And this could be a random coach off the street somewhere, like just at the community center. You just did it. You didn't really ask. But, nowadays kids want to know, what's your accolades? Why are you telling me what to do? And all these different things. Yeah. So, coaching has changed. So the main thing that we help with coaches is to help them to identify what their strengths are as a coach, because sometimes we can get caught up in just wanting to win games. And coaching is not just about winning games. It's about bringing the best out of people around you in order to have the best outcome. And I think that that's what we really focus on, the inner person when it comes to coaching, not just what you see on the outside. And we use an assessment. And this assessment is broken down into 4 major animals, right? So each animal is a different personality type. And the first animal is the lion. This is the person that's driven by results. They all about the outcome. My wife is a natural born lion. So she may ask me sometime, hey, you've been on these calls and stuff. Are you getting anything done? Because she's all about the bottom line. The second is a flamingo. This is the outgoing person, very energetic, inspiring, but they can also talk too much. My natural animal is a flamingo. The third is a chameleon. A chameleon is a natural born team player. This is a person that really is all about the team winning games. And then the fourth animal is the turtle. The turtle is driven by the details, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure the job gets done, but they want to get it done the first time, which makes them take a little bit longer in that process. But we're able to identify with that coach what animals that they have on their team and their players. Like what's the natural personality type of your team? Because you may be thinking, hey, why is this kid not taking that shot? Why is this person not doing that? Well, if they're not really driven by the outcome, they're not really the person for that shot. They're not really the kid that should be in that position. So we help them to identify where to put different people in their organizations to help them become successful. And they get a player scouting report it doesn't talk about what they do on the court, but this is all of the characteristics that the players have off the court.
Wow. Boy, you done dropped you done said something there, man. Yeah, that's good stuff there. And all those work together. That's the key. And then the Bible says all things work together for the good, those who love the Lord and call to his purpose. So when you get all those pieces together, all of them clicking, it's a beautiful thing to watch, and getting everybody to play their role and understand their role. And that's the whole thing about this. So can you give a word of encouragement to, we're in some challenging times. We have a group of juniors who are seniors who kind of missed their senior season. Another group that's kind of been abbreviated season, hybrid or whatnot. What's the word of encouragement you can give to some student athletes during this time on how to stay focused, how to stay passionate, how to fulfill their purpose?
Yeah, and it's funny you talk about that because I get phone calls from parents, I would say at least 2-3 times a week, where their student athlete, their child is dealing with mental health issues and really kind of trying to work themselves back into playing, work themselves back into this recruiting process. And things are a lot different. But I'm going to give that student athlete the words that I give all of the students that I work with. Focus on what you can control. When things get rough in your life, when you get a downtime, first of all, realize that it happens to everybody. When you go outside and it rains, it's raining. It rains at some point in everybody's life, meaning something's going to happen to everybody, right? But when you focus on what you control, you take your authority back in that situation. So if I'm focused on, all right, what can I do with my time, right? Time didn't change. You still got 24 hours in the day, right? So if you still got access to a gym, you got 24 hours in a day and you got a basketball, you got a way to control that. You got a way to control your outcome, right? If you still got a cell phone and you still playing, have somebody record games for you. Go back and watch film about the things that you need to get better at. And I think when we can focus on those things instead of the outcome, instead of, hey, I didn't get the offer that I wanted, right? Maybe you're not supposed to be there, right? You got to be at the right place at the right time and God's going to do the rest, baby. You got to work towards what you can control. So that's what I'm telling those student athletes, man. Focus on the controllables. Don't let this outside world put all of their influences on you. You focus on what the Bible says. You focus on what's inside of you. And I guarantee that's the secret sauce, baby. You're going to get everything that you even dreamed of and more. And more. I was just working with a student athlete. She had no offers, none, zero. She was mom almost crying on the phone. Next thing you know, what happens? This kid is already at a school right now, 4-year scholarship player, right? Division I. Now, I ain't saying it's because of us. I'm saying because she put the work in, she stopped focusing on that and she focused on what she could control and she became a better person in the meantime. And that's what it's all about.
Wow. Man, I'm about to get off of here because you got me ready to sign up for some of these services. So Lassie, could you talk about the services that your company offer to both coaches and athletes to help improve their opportunity for success and how they can reach out to you and get in touch with you to get more of this? Because I think you're just giving the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole lot more. And I want to make sure that you give them that opportunity to get more.
Yeah. So all of my coaches that would like to work with us, we do a player assessment for your entire team. We come in and we do a scouting report. It's about a half a day type of thing where we'll break down every single player on your team, their strengths, their weaknesses, and this is all communication based. So when you go to communicate with the student athlete, that you're able to adapt and adjust to effectively communicate with everybody on your team, as well as your staff members. So that's a service that we offer to all of my coaches that are on the line. If you want more information, you can email me at info at DevrinnPaul.com. So DEVRINNPAUL.com. To all my student athletes, whether you're a former student athlete or you're a current student athlete, We work with you guys on how to actually develop that athlete's mindset, right? And to take the things that you've learned from the sport to become a better person and to live your dream life. And we help you in 4 core main areas. The first one is building that winner's mindset, because winners win and losers lose, right? And then the second thing we help you work on is your health set. This involves your mental health as well as your physical health. The third thing we help you work on is your relationships, building those positive relationships. Exactly what we were just talking about, Pastor. And then the last thing is we help with your finances. Myself and my wife, we're on a journey to become debt free. We're about halfway there, but I could smell it, and I'm building a legacy for my baby girl. And I'm teaching all the student athletes as well, because at some point you're going to get an income. You may already have an income, and the key is to be financially free, right? The borrower is slave to the lender, right? And I don't want you to be no slave. You don't need to be no slave. This is what God said. He said, I came so you can have life more abundantly. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to live on the plus side. I ain't trying to just survive. I'm trying to thrive, right? So if you want to thrive, you want to get with the winning crowd, you need to go ahead and get some of these services. You can reach out on our website as well, DevrInnTPaul.com, DeVrinnT as in Thomas, Paul, PAUL.com.
Well, I want to thank you for your time, but I really want to thank you for your passion. And I want the audience to know that what you see is what you get. That DP is not just going through the motions. You know, this is really who he is, and he's passionate about. He's passionate about a couple of things. One is about his relationship with the Lord. He's passionate about that. And then secondly, as a man, he's passionate about his family. And it's always a blessing when husband and wives work together, when they work together with this goal, which is a goal. And then for his family. And then thirdly, he's just passionate about people. Just really, really passionate about helping people succeed. And like you said, not just survive, but thrive in this world. And there's so many opportunities. There's so many colleges that are looking for players, but with that right attitude, with that right mindset, with that athlete's mindset, you can be one of those. But you got to trust the grind, as he says there. You got to go through it. All of us have gone through it. DP, here's a man who was a student manager. We ain't talking about a college All-American, you know.
Washing the floors, cleaning the backboards.
We're talking about a student manager. We know what that is. That's the jack of all trades, you know. I had my son on here, and TJ would say his motto was TJ Brown, no job is too big, no job is too small. TJ Brown can do it all. You know?
Let's go.
He said. So I want to thank you for your love for sports and your passion. And I want to applaud you for that. And I want to pray that you continue to be blessed as you bless others, because we are truly blessed to be a blessing. You know, the things that God has given us, it's not for us, it's to share with someone else. And I appreciate you for being willing to share your passion and your resources, knowledge with others. And so thanks, DP, for joining me today. And I appreciate it, man. Looking forward to following your path. You know.
Man, I appreciate it too, Pastor. And I just want to say thank you to you as well. You raised a great son that I went to school with, that I'm still friends with today, TJ. And I know that, you know, you installed some great things in him, and we were able to build a relationship through school, through basketball, where we could now keep building together. And that just goes back to what we was talking about with those positive relationships. This is somebody that basically helped me get through accounting, baby. If it wasn't for TJ knowing his numbers, man, your boy might still be struggling with that accounting class. But I'm thankful to be surrounded by great people just like yourself. And thanks for having me on.
All right. Have a great day now.
Appreciate it.